Hello, teachers, parents, and educational leaders, and welcome to this episode of Breaking Down the Best. Now, during this episode, you will get a peek into the members-only area where I have tons of resources to help you make math fun, make it click, and make it stick. There should be a link somewhere around this video where you can learn more. All right, now that we got that out of the way, let's get to it, and let's break down the standard. Welcome to Breaking Down the Best, a video series dedicated to breaking down Florida's best standards for math. So, grab something to write with, and maybe even a snack. This looks good. And don't forget to put a smile on your face. There you go, I see you. And let's dive into today's best standard. Hey everyone, my name is Sarah McCarthy and I'm so excited that you are joining me as we break down the following standard. Today's standard is MA.4.DP.1.3 and it says to solve real-world problems involving numerical data. That is it. By the way, this document that I'm marking up all over is not something that I have created. This is something that the Florida Department of Education releases to the public. And in these Breaking Down the Best episodes, I'm just showing you my thought process for breaking down the standard in the first half of the video. And then in the second half of the video, we're going to pop on over to the website mccarthymathacademy.com and explore the resources that are strategically aligned to MA.4.DP.1.3 that you can access in your Taking on the Best membership. So let's carry on, okay? The example here says that given the data of the softball team's hat size represented on a line plot, which we have not been provided with, determine the fraction of the team that has a head size smaller than 20 inches. So basically, this is saying, okay, you're given data. We're not really answering questions based on the mode, the median, and the range. We're asking other types of questions, okay? So if it's mode, median, and range, that is DP.1.2. Everything else that you would ask about the data is up for grabs in DP 1.3. Some clarifications say that instruction includes using any of the four operations. That means adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing. Data involves fractions with like denominators because we're in fourth grade and that's what we've been doing other than tenths and hundredths. So we're limited to these denominators right here. And guess what? Our fractions can be greater than 1. We can also use decimals limited to the hundredths place. So that is right here. Here's our decimal. We've got our tenths place, but we're limited to the hundredths place. All right, so what are some of the related benchmarks in fourth grade? Well, we've got MA.4.NSO.1.5. That is plotting, ordering, and comparing decimal numbers. We do have decimals here. Then for 2.7, we have adding and subtracting with decimals, which might come into play because we might be analyzing the data where you'll have to add and subtract with decimals. We have 4.AR.1.2, which is adding and subtracting fractions in real-world problems. 1.3 for that AR strand is multiplication involving real-world problems. So we're taking all of these elements and analyzing the data, again, that we are given access to. We need to understand that numerical data is information with numbers. Also, we need to understand where they're coming from because in third grade, they did spend time interpreting data. And then in fifth grade, where are they going? Well, they'll have to determine the mode, the range, the median, and the mean. That's the way that they will interpret data sets there. Now for the purpose and instructional strategies section, here's what jumped out at me. It says the purpose of this benchmark is to use data sets as real-world context for doing arithmetic with whole numbers, fractions, and decimals. So really, it's a real-world problem. Anything is up for grabs that involves being able to interpret and answer questions pertaining to the data that we see. Okay, beyond finding the measures of the center. Again, that was MA.4.DP.1.2. So we should be teaching these in conjunction with those two standards, but this one stands alone. It's not asking for the mode, the median, and the range. It's asking to interpret everything else that you possibly can. This will involve 1- and 2-step problems. It could involve comparing data sets, again, with the 4 operations going on here. We want students to have a strong command of creating and interpreting line plots and stem and leaf plots. That is what they will need to be successful with interpretations of these data displays. Here it says that students can make errors when writing equations used to solve the problem. We need to make sure that they're able to justify those equations. And then here is kind of what it looks like in action. So here's a task. It says collect 10 used pencils from people in your class. Then you're going to measure the length of the pencils to the nearest eighth of an inch and record the lengths on a line plot. From there, what is the length? What is the difference in the length of the longest pencil and the shortest pencil? Okay, so this would kind of be like, this would definitely be like finding the range, but we're not calling it the range here. It might be a question like, what is the difference in the second longest pencil and the second shortest pencil? You got to be really careful to target which pieces of data they're wanting you to compare. Here's another example here with the last 5 putts with a stem and leaf plot. So it says, what is the sum of the 5 putt lengths? So that means adding all of these up. So that could look like this in the form of an equation. Or it could look like this, 2 times 1.5 plus 3 plus 2 times 4.5 equals the sum, S. So that's the way to create an equation using the data and then being able to solve it. All right, I think that is it for going over this standard. Let's go ahead and head over to the website to take a look at what you have access to that's aligned to the standard. All right, so here we are on the website, mccarthymathacademy.com. And what you want to do is click right here for where it says members enter here. Select taking on the best. Click on 4th grade. Scroll down to the DP, data analysis and probability strand. And then we want this one right here, MA.4.DP.1.3, real world problems with data sets. So the first page that you will open up to has your bronze resources. These are the video lessons and printable student guides that go with them. The guides are exactly what we're going over in the video, so it's nice. You can copy it down just like I'm doing it. In this particular one, we have 2 video lessons. We have solving real-world problems with stem and leaf plots using whole numbers. And then we have solving real-world problems with line plots using mixed numbers. So it's just kind of shaking it up and showing you how these questions can look. The whole point with the video lessons is to make it fun and to make it click. The expectation is not that students will master this standard after just watching the video lesson, because in order to achieve mastery, they need to practice on their own, not just going through the lesson. So that's why we have these silver resources right here. Okay, so if you go down, you just click here for your printables. All right, so here we have the video lesson. So it goes like this, the video lesson, and then the extra practice comes right behind it. So it makes it easier for you when it comes to printing and organizing these sheets for your students. So here is the video lesson. You can see here, this is the one where we have real world problems with stem and leaf plots involving whole numbers. So 9 students are playing a game. And here it says, how much greater is the median number of points than the least number of points? So yes, it says median. We need to be able to determine the median, but it's more than that. It's actually a 2-step problem here. We have to find the median and then subtract that from the lowest number there. Number 2, the students are trying to score a combined total of 300 points. How many more points do they need to reach this score? So first they're going to have to add up all the points that they have and then subtract it from 300. Again, it's a 2-step problem. Okay, so they take down the notes in the video lesson, and then they have the opportunity to practice on their own. Here it says, a police officer tracks the speeds of oncoming traffic. He tracks the data he collects using the stem and leaf plot below. They get extra practice with this one, right? And then they've got another video lesson, this time with the line plots with mixed numbers. So here we've got weight of bags of grapes. What's the combined weight of bags that weigh 2.5 pounds? So finding just the 2.5 pounds and then adding all those up or multiplying 4 times 2.5. And then a customer selects one of the bags of grapes and now the total weight is 33 pounds. This is saying that a customer is removing one of the bags of grapes. So we have to see which bag the customer removed based on the amount that we know is left. Then here we have an extra practice. using fractions again. Okay, with a line plot, and then we have a math mission right here. This says to measure the length of 11 books to the nearest quarter of an inch, so to the nearest 1/4, 2/4, 3/4. Track the lengths in the table, then complete a stem and leaf plot and a line plot based on your data. Finally, answer the questions based on your data. So what is the range, median, and mode of your data? And what is the sum of the 3 greatest lengths of books? So yes, we are incorporating that other strand in there, the 1.2, where we're determining the range, the median, and the mode. But really, the focus is on other points of data as well. And here they get to create their own question based on the data and solve it. So that's fun. The last activity in the silver plan is Math Misconception Mystery. You can see it is a video. So if we go back here, you just click play right there, and I will guide your students through the entire process, starting with solving this problem right here. I'll say, okay, go ahead and solve this problem on your own or with a buddy. That's fine too. This says that Keisha tracks the time she spends practicing her multiplication facts each day and records it on the line plot below. What is the difference of the longest time and the second shortest time that Keisha practices her multiplication facts? So students will have to read this and solve it. After they solve the problem, they'll press play and they will watch 4 characters solve the same problem. The thing is, these 4 characters, 3 of them are going to make a mistake that students commonly make, and only 1 student solves it correctly. So they'll really have to pay attention and see who's correct and who is making the mistakes. By the way, these characters are just me, dressed up in silly costumes with silly accents, trying to make it fun. And then after students have watched all of the characters solve it, they can then fill out their detective report, which is right here, and they will state who the most reasonable answer belongs to and why, and evaluating the work of the other 3 characters. So these are super fun. Once you pop one of these videos into your lessons, your students are going to beg you for more, and luckily there's one for every standard, so that's fun. Your answer keys for everything that we've gone over are right here in your silver plan, and then with the gold plan, you have access to even more. With the gold plan, you have a mini assessment at your fingertips. The mini assessments, they just say show what you know. So that could be a mini assessment, or you can just throw it out there for extra practice. That is fine too. These typically have about 4 to 5 questions. I believe this one has 4, and I try to create a variety of question types here. So you can see we even incorporate decimals into this one because students with this standard should have a command of decimals and how to do all that. So there's that one. The answer key is right here. You also, as a gold member, have access to the Breaking Down the Best episodes right here with all of your resources just a click or 2 away. And it's a nice perk of being a gold member because it's ad-free, whereas on YouTube, these episodes do contain ads, so just know that. But the highlight of the gold plan is having access to the other program, McCarthy Math 155, which is a daily math intervention aligned to the Common Core standards. Now, I know it says Common Core, and I know that we are strategically aligning our resources to the best, right? But there are a lot of skills that do trickle over and can support your students to build that math confidence. Not necessarily for this standard, but definitely for some other skills. I'll show you. So the 155, that stands for 155 video lessons for each grade. We'll click on 4th grade right here, and you'll see the different units. So while there isn't anything that really aligns with this standard, do you have students who are struggling to add and subtract numbers with regrouping or multiplication or division, right? Fractions, multiplying fractions, adding fractions, relating fractions to decimals. There's 12 video lessons, 6 video lessons. You can see all the video lessons right down there. There are line plot questions, but they're a little bit different than what we need for the best standards. So just know that. But you can see there's a ton of extra resources right here. You just have to know what it is that you're looking for that can support your students, okay? All right, I think that is it. So I hope that now you understand the standard, what the expectation is of it, and what resources you have at your fingertips that are strategically aligned to the standard that we've gone over today. Before we go though, let me remind you that what you wake up and you choose to do every day with your life It really does matter. Thank you for stepping into the best version of yourself every day so you can inspire your students to do the same. And thank you for inviting me into your educational space. I love being able to support you and support your students and hopefully put some time back into your pocket so you can enjoy your nights and your weekends. Speaking of time, I know that you're busy and that you have a lot going on, so I will leave you to that, and I'll see you in the next episode real soon, okay? Bye! Okay, so I know that I just said goodbye for now, but I'm going to ask you to do one more thing, okay? If you enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with your teacher friends or other leaders in education. That's how I get to continue doing what I love to do, which of course is supporting you all to the best of my ability. All right, for real now. Bye!